Hey guys, I'm Lee from Lee Likes Music, the place to share, explore, and learn about rock music from Bandcamp. And in today's video, we're going to take a look at an album called We Are Trees by The Last Sighs of the Wind. So that's coming up. The Last Sighs of the Wind is a post-rock band from Mahilyow, Belarus. They've released a few singles over the past few years, but they really haven't released anything substantial until the 21st. Why do I always say that? The 21st of June last month, they released this album, We Are Trees, and it's actually not that bad. It's pretty good. From what I understand by looking at the album artwork and the title, it might be an album that is inspired by nature and possibly the current condition of our environment, but that is just the first things that I come up with. After listening to the album a couple of times, I also understand that this album it has a very broad concept, it seems. It might not be a concept album, it might be, I'm not quite sure. There's really not that much information about the band or about the album as I could find, but it seems to dwell within the themes of nature and also human feelings and human conditions. As always, I try to find a story, some sort of a background story or more information about the band, but again, I couldn't find anything because I always look into the most obscure and unknown music that I could ever find. So yeah, I guess there is no story today then, guys. The only story that I have is that I looked through Bandcamp as usual, and I actually didn't need to look through that much music at that moment because I actually found a bunch of pretty good music, and this was one of the bands that stood out to me the most, so I was like, yeah, I gotta do this. Let's go through some of the songs that stood out to me on this album. The first one is called Your Wave Caresses Me. It starts with a sample of a waterfall, and this is something that you can see and hear continuously throughout the album, that the band has put in samples in the beginning of some of the songs, and this carries out some of what I consider to be kind of like a theme or a concept throughout the album. The song slowly builds in terms of momentum. They continuously add layers of melody and different instruments. In other words, it's a very classic momentum building post-rock type of song. Within a lot of post-rock, you'll find that the general structure of a song is build up, build up, build up, momentum building, climax, then a break, maybe another climax, and then building down again. The first climax is very hard-hitting, it's quite intense, but then the second climax in the song is a little bit more subtle, it's warmer, and you feel like it's starting to ebb towards the ending. So yeah, it's a great post-rock song, you get what you expect, and the mood is amazing. This is definitely something that I would put on anytime when I need to focus on something else. It's a very intuitive listening experience, at least to me. Let's jump over to track number 4, which is called Return of Thunder. The mood of the guitar melody here is quite sad, quite depressive, and that is basically the mood that you will hear in all of the previous songs as well. During all the first 4 songs, it has this sad tone to it. There's also in this song another sample during the introduction of the song. You can hear rain starting to fall, you can hear some thunder. It's basically linked to the name of the song, Return of Thunder. And you can also hear some city streets. There's an alarm, like a car alarm going off. As I told you before, there's a set of seances throughout this whole album that paints a picture in your mind. It is loosely following some sort of a concept. For the most part, the band is letting you paint most of the picture, most of the story. And I think that can be a good thing, because then they kind of allow you to invest more of your imagination into the album, and that can be a very enriching experience. But then again, it craves a lot of attention, it craves a lot of focus and patience from you, and that can be hard for some people, I would imagine. The climax features these alternating melodies, which is really catchy. You have these drums in the background that almost become mechanical at the end. They become more digital. They go from being live drums, I guess, to being digitalized drums. Now, what's interesting about the song is that the first climax is kind of cold, it's depressive and sad, while the second climax is erupting into this very hopeful and uplifting melody. And I don't know, I found that to be a bit inventive. I didn't expect that to be a thing. I thought they would go for the same mood theme throughout the whole song. Now, moving over to track number 6, we have Bird's Song, and not surprisingly, it starts with a sample of birds singing and tweeting. The rhythm starts in this subtle way, and when the melody comes in, you instantly feel that it's very warm and welcoming and life-affirming in a way. I love the echo effect that they sometimes use on the guitar in the song. It creates this bouncy effect that makes the song a little bit more playful. Something that really surprised me is that at one point the drums goes over to playing this disco beat, which makes it really catchy, but again, it wasn't something that I expected happening. And this is something that happens generally throughout the song. The beat is continuously changing, and there's always a sense of novelty in the song, which really makes you want to listen more to the song. It just keeps you enticed all the way through. Definitely one of the more dynamic and positive songs off of the album. I love how they frequently introduce new ideas in the song, and again, I love the fact that they follow up on this sound clip theme that they're going for. Now, track number 7 is called Euphoria. This has to be one of the more intricate songs off of the album, and what surprised me about this song and also some of the other ones is just how fluent the musicians, how fluent the band are at creating a flow. It amazes me how the band goes from a sound image that is so loud, so spectacular, to something that is very subtle and calm in such an effortless way. Alright, so now that we've talked a little bit about the songs, I want to talk about the album as a whole, and again, it feels like the album is telling a story. You will get the most clear examples of this concept in track number 4, 5, 6, and 9. Again, I want to say it's a very vague concept, if it even is a concept at all, but I think it's a good thing that they left such an open space around the album. I think it can serve some people that have a lot of patience and want to invest themselves into music and kind of fill in the blanks. For people like that, it's a good thing, but then again, I don't think a lot of people would put too much effort into thinking so much around the melodies and the sound clips and the titles and just come up with an imaginary world. I think that is for music nerds, for nerds in general. Another thing that I want to mention about the album is that the moodscape of the album is quite monotone. There are just 2 or 3 songs on the album that are straight out positive, while most of the other songs, the 7 other songs, are quite negative and depressive in a way. So in my mind, if the band is actually trying to tell a story, it sounds like a tragic story. This also comes forth in the track listing of the album. The album starts off in a very negative and dramatic way during the second half of the album. That is, first of all, when we get introduced to the more uplifting songs, and towards the end we also have some more dramatic, depressive and sad songs. So yeah, I guess that is how the dynamics of a tragic story goes. I'm not quite sure. I really haven't studied this myself, but that is just how I imagine it to be. The production of this album is good, but it could have been better. Sometimes when I listen to the cymbals on some of the songs, they become very piercing, and it's not that comfortable to listen to. Other times, I also feel like when the songs reach a climax, all of the instruments just, there's not much ring to the different instruments. It sounds like they have compressed the instruments a bit too much. And for me, that just doesn't sound good. Sometimes the songs sound very clear and it's warm to listen to. It's pleasant to listen to. Other times it's a bit more distant and not too clear. So the production here is, it's various. Most of the time it's good, but there are some times in the album where it reaches a quite low point. But overall, I think that this album has some positives to it. It is more of a positive album than a negative one. I like the inventiveness on this album, the instruments. They definitely tried to put some more in there, something that is not like very standard when it comes to the genre. They tried to do a little bit more than what is required to create standard post-rock, so to speak. There's a flow in the album that I really enjoy, and there's also a sense of a story, and that is always something that I appreciate with an album like this. If I was to give it a better score, it would probably have to, it would need to create more of an atmosphere, maybe strengthen this concept around having introductory sound clips so that the story would actually be more in the forefront of the album. That would make it a lot better, at least to me. And if they could put in a little bit more production quality, if the quality of the production could have been a little bit better, the sound quality, and also just a bit more inventiveness here could have been even better. So yeah, that is what I want to say about the album. For now, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It's a positive one. Definitely worth checking it out. Maybe you will like it even more. Maybe you will like it less. I don't know. Nonetheless, I hope that you enjoy it. So, yeah. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you like to share, explore, and learn about rock music from Bandcamp, then I highly suggest you click the red subscribe button below. I know that there's a lot of you guys who are watching this who haven't subscribed already, but it's free, so go ahead and do that. Also click the bell icon beside the subscribe button, because in that way you'll always get notified when I upload new videos to this beautiful place right here. It's a beautiful place, don't you think? Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope to see you later. Stay tuned. Bye. For some reason I have that Sia song on my mind, and I don't even like that song. I hate it so much. I'm in a waterfall. Why? Why? Why?